Hey everybody, I'm gonna have a countdown for the fancy YouTube stuff, so I'm just playing this video. Okay? Okay. I think that's good. So, hey everybody, we just went live, and I am Body Moving, as many of you know. And hi Mary, hi Maggie. Oh, of course, my dogs would start barking. Hi JG, hi sweet Melissa. Hi everybody.
Hey.
So this is our first live, and here's the situation. Here's what we're doing. We are transitioning from TikTok to YouTube, and we'll probably still do TikTok too. We're not leaving TikTok, but we want to get like deeper into cases. Okay. And that's really hard to do on TikTok because, you know, there's so many boxes and they're tiny, and I can't show you cool things. You know, it's hard to share on that platform, and you can't say, you know, words that you need to talk, you need to be able to say when you're talking about true crime. Like, we can't say gun, and we can't say stabbed and blood, you know, like there's things that we want to be able to talk about, but we can't. We're very limited on TikTok. Hi Jennifer, hi Kiki, hi guys, hi Susan. Let me give my dog a treat so he doesn't. So anyway, so we decided to start doing our own lives on YouTube, which I'm going to do my own lives. Niho is going to do her own lives. Peachy's probably going to do. We're all going to be doing our own lives, but like, you know, maybe once or twice a month we would come together and give updates to the entire community, the toxic community, we're calling it, on all of our favorite cases. And that's what we're doing tonight. So we have a Discord server where we are digging into cases. It's very positive environment. I hope it is, at least. There's no drama. There's the bots are great. Everybody's welcome. If you want to, like, you know, help contribute to working on cases and things like that, please join us. You're more than welcome. But yeah, so we're just going to do these probably once or twice a month, and really kind of do deep dives into our favorite cases. Tonight is just like an introduction into a new case that we're working on, actually, and also a summary of some cases that we have been dealing with. Here comes Gianna, late as usual.
Late as usual.
So without further ado, I don't know if anybody wants to introduce themselves. I'm Body Moving. I go by Real Body Moving on all of my platforms. You can find me on TikTok, YouTube. I mean, pretty much Clapper. I mean, everywhere. And you'll probably be seeing a lot more of my big stupid face here soon. And then we have Peachy. Do you guys want to do intros or no? I have no idea.
Hi, everybody.
Knows us.
Peachy, or Rachel. That's me. Welcome in. Welcome in. I'm super excited about this.
And I'm Niho.
Hey, May.
My name is
Coco.
Hey, Coco. Everybody. Oh, look, everybody's coming in.
And then, of course, you guys know Nikki, Sleuthing the Truth, Las Vegas Missing and More, LVM and NMOP. We always say LVM and OP because of all her initials. And then, of course, we have Gianna. You can find her at Criminal Vibes 19. Alyssa is at the Murder Hour. And I do want to say, too, that the toxic true crime community isn't just us, right? It's not just us 6 that are up here right now. There's more. Some people couldn't make it tonight. This isn't like a job, right? This is just fun for us and kind of like a hobby. And, you know, there'll probably be the same people throughout, but other people will be in, and like Indy's not here, and she's, you know, of course, she does so many amazing things. Gina's not here, Savannah. So, you know, just because this is not a closed community is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Absolutely, May. Absolutely, May. That's what I mean. Like, this isn't just like us. We're just starting it. That's all. Does that make sense?
Right.
So we're going to go over a couple things. We're going to start with Micah Miller, and that's going to transition us into a new case that we've kind of learned about, and that is Heather Turner. And Heather Turner, just very briefly, is if you're interested in the Mica Miller case and what happened to her, I think you're going to want to stick around to hear about Heather Turner. And
Absolutely.
this is something that we just started on. And in fact, the Justice for Heather Turner Facebook page and TikTok, please follow them. Oh, Coco, I don't expect anything less from you, babe. Let me put that up on the screen because that deserves its own shout out. But please stick around for Heather Turner because it's something that I do believe all the ladies that are in our community are going to want to hear about. And it's something that we're really going to be focusing on a lot. If I don't know if Mary's in the chat still, but she has overwhelmed me with so much information that it's taking me weeks to organize it. And so we're in that process right now and assigning tasks. In fact, we just finished a task today. I'm really proud of the sub team that worked on that. And so shout out to Velma and Tiny Mama and Alyssa here for getting that done. And we'll talk about all that. But anyway, so that's what we are going to be talking about. And then we're going to roll into a very small Idaho update. I did put in here that we'd probably be talking about Delphi, but I think I'm going to save that for its own live on my channel because I'm really the only person that really is a psycho about Delphi. And then we're going to talk about Sebastian and all the fuckery that's going on there. So without further ado, yes, props to Mary. Okay, so when we get to Mary or when we get to Heather, I have something special to say about Mary. And I'm going to save it for then so that I make her stay in the chat. So without further ado, why don't we just jump right in? I have shifted my focus from Mica Miller to Heather Turner. So Niho and Peachy are still, although they are very invested in Heather Turner, they have really been highly invested in Mica Miller. So they are going to, oh, Natalie Jones, is that the case you told me about, Peachy?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay. Hi, Justice for Natalie Jones. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Peachy has said a lot of things about your case that you, yeah, that's great. So anyway, without further ado, let's just jump right into Mica. And you guys, please in the chat, there's some of us here who have a massive stage fright. So please bear with us. We want to be as professional as possible, but we might, slip up here and there. Hi, Curvy. Hi, sweetheart. So anyway, without further ado, let's talk Mica. I'm going to mute myself so Peachy and Niho can kind of take over. But if you guys need anything, just say my name, okay?
Okie dokie.
All right.
Okay. Micah Miller is 30 years old, and she's from South Carolina, and she was married to Pastor J.P. Miller, and she was found deceased April 27th in Lumber River State Park, North Carolina. Her husband had initially claimed her death is a suicide, and authorities have also confirmed that. But I have been sick this last week. Oh, and me and Pete, so I'm going to let Peachy read over this timeline.
All right. So September 26, 1998, JP had an Alford plea after being charged with hitting a woman with his car twice. Not just once, but twice. So that would mean he would have to, I guess, back up or move or whatever and do it again. And then in 99, he pled with an Alford plea to ABHAN. That was a Class C felony. He lost his right to vote, purchased a weapon, and then in 2021, he applied to have his rights restored. April 13th, 2003, He was found guilty of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and knowingly causing property damage in excess of $300. February 28, 2005, was charged with domestic assault, battery, and bodily harm where null processed or non-prosecuted by an Illinois court. When Micah was around 14, she started attending a youth group at Solid Rock Church, and it was there 20-year-old J.P. Miller started grooming her while married to his wife, who had shared 5 children with him. And then in 2012, Micah was married to another man. 2015, Micah and Pastor John Paul Miller have an affair with each other. Both spouses of Micah and JP file for divorce. Can we move that up? Let's see. JP writes a letter to the church asking for forgiveness. According to multiple members of the church at the time, elders told him, "You're not a good Christian if you don't have forgiveness." So that gives us a really good idea of John Paul's history. Yeah. 2017, Micah and JP get married. 2021, JP alleged affair with Susie Skinner begins. Both Susie and her husband are members of the church. I've been told by several sources that this was when the relationship began. September 2021, Susie Skinner's husband is found dead in a pool, bound by a wheelchair. He accidentally falls in and drowns. October 2023, Micah Miller files for divorce. December 2023, John Paul Miller sells his house to Solid Rock Church.
And that is confirmed. I forgot to take that off of there.
February 4th, JP preaches a sermon on Kara and Moses and how it's wrong to rise against religious leaders. February 8th, according to Micah, she's involuntarily hospitalized in a mental facility. According to affidavits from Micah's family, JP takes this opportunity to go through her electronic devices and deletes evidence. Sometime.
Sometime.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Whoops.
Sometime, somewhere. Okay. Sometime. John Paul removed her personal belongings from the home they shared while she was admitted to Waccamo Center for Mental Health, according to a sworn affidavit from her sister, Sierra Francis, that was filed May 2nd as a part of an application to the special administrator for her sister's estate. I know he is. February 13th, Micah Miller's application for divorce is dismissed. February 10th, she accuses JP of stealing her car while admitted in the hospital. February 23rd, he files for spousal support. JP leaves his number for a waitress. An adult conversation through text happens, and he's seen begging for explicit photos from the woman. February 25th, in another sermon to his congregation, Pastor JP says, "A mentally ill person doesn't know they're sick. You have to trust people around you. The thing that's sick is your mind, and your mind is what you need to realize that you're sick."
Great person.
I feel like he was mirroring. Yeah, he was mirroring. Lord have mercy.
He projected a lot.
March 11th, Pastor John Paul preaches a sermon and reveals he went through 2 years of messages on his wife's phone, and he had found that 18 people reached out saying to her, "If you ever want to talk about your husband, you can talk to me, and I'll keep it confidential." Visibly upset, the pastor followed up with, "That's a demon talking." He tells his congregation that his wife was in the hospital, and as soon as she got out, she left him. She gets out and she just leaves, just completely leaves me, leaves everything, drains the bank account, and just goes. Guess what? while you're talking bad about me out there, I'm building a school in Africa for over 100 kids to be able to be fed. JP says to his congregation, one thing I'm going to preach about is getting rich, strong, healthy, and finding a hot wife that loves Jesus, all while wearing his wedding ring. Micah files a police report that her tire was slashed. The possible suspect name was redacted from the report. March the 12th, JP request for spousal support. His request for spousal support was denied or dismissed. There was no explanation as to why. March 17th, JP tells a story of a pastor whose wife left him for a member of his staff. The pastor had to hire a third-party company to find her. Once he found her, divorce papers were drawn up. When the time came to sign the papers, the pastor couldn't do it because the Bible says divorce is wrong. And if she wanted out, she would have to leave him. According to the affidavit, Micah Miller accuses her husband of tracking her. Let me get my glasses on. Hang on. In a Facebook post made by Micah Miller, her sister, Sierra says she keeps an eye on her phone for fear of my sister's safety due to others' behaviors towards her. She goes on to mention the sermon from March 17th, calls out the congregation of Solid Rock Church. March 18th, Micah posts a video encouraging others. She says, I'm just making sure my heart doesn't have any unforgiveness, bitterness, resentment, just forgiveness and hope for the future and peace. Miller posts a video on Facebook telling people that she is alive and well.
Really quick.
Mhm.
It's important to know here. It's important to know here that she was on an account, a different Facebook account, and they had a shared Facebook account. So all these postings that she's doing is from her new account that she created by herself, right?
Yes.
Right. And that was the beginning
So,
of March.
yeah.
And I do believe that March 18th was the first one, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? Do you know?
I think
I think it was the
you're
first
probably
one.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a brand. She was like severing ties, right? She was cutting those strings. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
keep going. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah,
interrupt.
no, that's fine. She was starting anew. I think she was ready, and to take on whatever she needed to. So moving on, life's been kind of crazy the couple past weeks, months, years, but I've kind of had to keep my circle really small for the past couple of weeks just because I'm going through a lot, she said. March 22nd. Micah posts another video suggesting she was abused physically and mentally. She also says God hates divorce, but how does God feel about abuse? She also suggests her husband forced her to take illegal drugs. On March 27th, JP files a police report saying that he's being harassed on social media by his wife, tells the police he's worried about his reputation. Now, on that, when he filed, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that's when the police tell him basically that if he don't like what he not to look at her Facebook if he don't like it, and that there was no evidence of anything because she didn't say names or anything. But it was funny how he was like, "Well, if you don't like it, don't look at it."
Right.
Like, duh.
Yeah. April 16th, Micah files for spousal support. Miller files for separation from John Paul. According to the Sun News, a hearing notice was sent out for Micah's request. A court date was scheduled for June the 5th. Micah Miller commits suicide on April 27th. On April 28th, Pastor John Paul announces to his congregation at the end of a service that his wife was dead and it was self-induced. He also reminds the congregation of her mental illness. On the 28th, Micah's sister Sierra Francis posts on Facebook saying, "Don't listen to the false stories being told about her, Micah." April 30th, John Paul attempts to get into Micah's apartment. He's stopped by the building manager and the police are called. I know. Cry me a river, big boy. I need to make a police report because I'm being harassed online, but they're not saying my name. Lord have mercy.
Be for real. Come on.
May
Good
2nd.
boy.
I know. And excuse me.
Same.
In an interview with ABC 15, Pastor J.P. Miller says she was probably the greatest wife anyone could ask for. He also points out her mental illness. Affidavits are filed by the siblings of Micah Miller. According to documents, Micah told her sister, "If a bullet ends up in my head, it wasn't me." May the 5th. Photos of John Paul Miller with Susie Skinner surfaced. Allegedly, he's been seen in public multiple times with Susie after Micah's death. On May the 5th, JP is temporarily dismissed of his duties at Solid Rock Church. Protests erupt outside Solid Rock Church. The funeral for Micah happens later that afternoon. According to one man, John Paul Miller attends a bar and shows no remorse for his wife's death. May 6th, North Carolina medical examiner rules Micah's death a suicide. Police reports show Micah had GPS tracker placed on her car weeks before her death. Two of Micah Miller's siblings alleged in court documents that her sister feared for her life amid divorce proceedings. May 7th, Micah Miller's 911 call, along with surveillance photos, are released by Robeson County Sheriff's Department. Micah purchased a firearm at a local pawn shop and then drove to a national park where she commits suicide. Police confirm JP was nowhere near the scene. They say he was with a woman who has allegedly romantically been involved with him. I call bullshit.
Do you need me to read this? I think I
Yeah,
know it's hard to read.
if you don't mind. Yeah. That'd be good.
On May 8th, Micah Miller's husband, it was said, groomed her years before their marriage and refused to let her drive, the police report says. And also on May 8th, Micah Miller was suspect in now closed Solid Rock Church's theft investigation, Myrtle Beach police say. News 13 exclusive says that the man who found Micah's belongings says that her suicide had changed his life. And that's when he reports that he talks about how he grabbed her belongings and he, oh, no, why did I do that? And then he had heard her cry. And then on May 9th, the attorney for J.P. Miller claims that he groomed his wife or and abused her false. On May 10th, police records show 4 instances of GPS trackers being reported on Micah Miller's vehicles. On May 13th, J.P. Miller says that he put GPS trackers on Micah's vehicles and had posted a nude photo of her. On May 14th, the Miller family attorney hints at lawsuit against Micah's estranged husband. Solid Rock Ministries is worth millions. Wait, what is that? Oh, that. On May 14th, they released a video where you could see JP shows up to where Micah's getting her tire fixed and reporting a tracker on her car, and he's telling her like, you know, you can go to jail or whatever. And what is this? On May 15th, the body language experts were looking at J.P. Miller during Micah's celebration of life and were saying that they didn't see any grief. And I know one of them said that they wanted to use that in their classes to show how somebody that's grieving should not act. And this is just the affidavit. Let me go.
Those are the sibling affidavits, right?
Yes. So I have them somewhere else too. Here's this summary. Can you read that? PG?
Yeah, I can do it. I already have my mic on. So Mica Miller, 30 years old from South Carolina, was discovered deceased on April 27th in the Lumber River State Park, North Carolina. Her husband, Pastor John Paul Miller, initially claimed that her death was a suicide. The authorities reported her cause of death as a gunshot wound to the head. The 911 call discovery, prior to her death, Mica made a 911 call at 2:54 p.m., indicating that her intention was to kill herself. The authorities traced her location to the Lumber River State Park in Orem, North Carolina, where they found her black Honda Accord and later discovered her body in the water. Her cause of death was officially declared a suicide, resulting from a gunshot wound to the head, according to a May 7th media release from the Sheriff's Department. This determination was made after reviewing surveillance footage, conducting an examination by the North Carolina medical examiner, and conducting interviews. As far as the investigation goes, it revealed that Mica purchased a gun the day of her death from Dick's Pawn Shop and conducted online searches for nearby national parks. Law enforcement confirmed that John Paul Miller was not in North Carolina at the time of Mica's death. The divorce proceedings. Mica had filed for divorce, we all know this, from her husband, citing reasons including alleged abuse and violence. She had also expressed fear of him to her family members. We all know that her sister posted on, Facebook that, she was concerned for her and not to believe everything. The Robeson County Sheriff, Burns Wilkins, stated that federal authorities had been in contact with local investigators since the early stages of the investigation. However, he emphasized that the aid from federal officials was not related to the Micah Miller case, citing jurisdictional reasons. So what that to me means is that the feds are involved, but not necessarily in regards to her death. But that's just my interpretation of things. Damian McLean, a veteran investigator with the sheriff's office, clarified that the federal assistance was requested to investigate information unrelated. Oh, okay. I should have read further. Okay. Because that's exactly what I just said. John Paul Miller, during Micah's eulogy, expressed disbelief at her passing, stating that he even attempted to raise her from the dead after spending time with her body multiple times. I mean, creep McGee here, right? Gross. Mica's family questioned the official cause of death, alleging abuse and expressing gratitude for support and seeking justice. However, they had no personal knowledge of any FBI investigation into the matter. That's because they're not investigating the death. That's just my opinion. They're investigating his financial crimes.
Yeah, that's what they confirmed. Like, well, they didn't confirm that, but they confirmed that they weren't investigating. The FBI wasn't investigating like her death. Yeah,
right. The FBI would not be investigating something like this. Okay. Was that the last slide there, Neil?
Yes, that's a summary, and then I have like a few videos and yeah, I don't know much.
Here's the thing: everybody has seen these, right? Like everybody has seen all these videos, and it's good to have in case we need to reference them, in the program. But the reality of the situation with Micah Miller is that the law enforcement is saying that this was definitely a suicide, and here's why, right? They have her on video buying the gun. They have her on surveillance traveling north to North Carolina. They have her making stops along the way. They have her making a 911 call. And then, of course, here's the discrepancy. They say that they did not do gun residue test on her hands, right? Is that correct? Is that what we're being told?
Her dad said they didn't do an autopsy and they only did a blood alcohol test.
Now, to me, that is wild.
Is what her father says, according to her dad. And he said that a few times.
No, I know. I mean, I've seen his interviews, and the family has been very adamant that did not happen. Mm-hmm. That they did not do an autopsy, or which is. Listen,
I can't imagine. I would be in denial. I feel like that's crazy. In general, but with everything, because there's a lot of sketchy pieces to this. So I couldn't imagine being a family member, like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's definitely sketchy, and I hope that we learn more about why that didn't happen. Amy Ray says it's possible he wasn't really divorced from his first wife. That's interesting, and we're gonna get into that a little bit with Heather Turner too.
Mhm.
Interesting. That is interesting.
Okay.
But hopefully we learn more and the family can get some answers about what happened to Mica, right? And I have said, from the beginning, and I think I have an unpopular opinion, and that's one great thing about this panel is we all disagree on everything. And it's my opinion that Mica did do this. But I don't think badly of her for doing so. I feel like it
Yeah.
was an escape, and if we can take anything from this, it's to be a beacon for other women
Mm-hmm.
and other cases like hers, which brings us to Heather Turner.
Yeah, I like to say.
I'm sorry. Did you have
Yes.
did you have any anything else to add? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to like take over either. I just it just happened.
No, you're good.
Okay. Did you guys want to say anything else in regards to Mica?
I think we're good. I mean, I wonder if does anybody have any questions in the comments? I think that was an excellent timeline and summary of all of the events leading up to today, really. So, but if anybody has any questions or, shoot them out to us and we'll answer as we can. But we'll get into Heather real quick too next.
So Heather Turner. Heather Turner is a woman. She was, she was young. She was vibrant. She had just gotten married. Well, not just, but had been married to a man named Andy Turner. And she was found. She had children. I'm just giving a high level overview of. I think I'm the only one, Natalie, that believes she did. I think I'm the only one that believes it was her, and that's okay.
No,
That
I
Micah?
don't not believe it was her though.
Yeah.
I believe he is the reason.
Yeah, I believe she. I believe
because
she.
of him.
I absolutely
I
believe
feel
that
the
he's
same
responsible.
way.
Right.
I believe she pulled the
I
trigger,
feel very
but he's
strongly
responsible.
about that. That
Yeah.
either way, he's still just as guilty. Is how I feel about it.
Right.
Too.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So Heather, let me get to my.
But
Heather
I'm not
here,
past a good conspiracy. By the way, I just want to put that out there. There are some sketchy.
So Heather,
there's sketchy things.
Right. Can you guys see the screen? I can't see while I'm in here. You can see my Heather Prezi. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let me just talk very quickly about Heather. She was found in her bathroom. She had taken a shower and she was nude. Her hair was wet and there was a gunshot to her head. And it was very suspect. There's a lot of suspicious things happening with her. Andy was a preacher. They met while she was getting marriage counseling through her church with her ex-husband at the time. It was her husband at the time. And they started having an affair. So she was having an affair with her therapist preacher of her church, and they ended up getting married. Okay, and they had their own child. And Andy throughout the relationship was a kook ball. I mean, he was like crazy pants, right? And she started working at the courthouse in probate court in 2016. All right. She was a court clerk at the Paulding County courthouse. And according to her, she had like this emotional support boyfriend, right? They weren't physical. They weren't having an affair, but they did care deeply for one another. And he worked at the courthouse. And according to him, she was planning to leave Andy that week. And I don't know, I can't remember if it was the next day or that day, but it was literally that week. She was leaving him. And Mary, who is in the chat, she has been dealing with this for years. This happened 7 years ago, you guys. It was the next day, Amy. Okay, thank you. Mary has been documenting everything and getting FOIA requests filled from Georgia, and staying on top of this since it happened. And Heather's family is like, listen, this case is open. This has not been ruled a suicide, and it's not been ruled a murder. They just want to know what happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer, you know how people are. People are judgmental as hell. None of us are going to ever judge her. I mean, I would have had one years earlier, you know? But you know how people are. People are jerks. So this happened 7 years ago. All right. It has been Mary has been tirelessly working on this pretty much alone. I mean, I don't know all the help, but she's been doing this very much alone. And one day she hopped up in a live I was in about Mica, actually, and told the story of Heather. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. And she's like, I've been trying to get a hold of you. And I was like, all right, lay it on me. So she did. And I was immediately intrigued. And I started digging into all the information Mary sent me, and I'm still sifting through it. And it's very suspicious. And the fact that this case is still open 7 years later and has no resolution is wild to me. So I'm in the process right now of organizing all the information that Mary has sent. And, you know, some of the information is still trickling in. I mean, what, Mary, you sent me 30 emails yesterday, I think, with new information. And so what we're doing is I'm taking all the documents. You guys know I talk about Indy a lot. Hopefully she joins us at some point on a panel, but we work a lot with AI. And so I'm having AI analyze all the information so that we can ask it questions about the case. And, you know, the part of the toxic true crime thing is that I really want to bring tech in more into the true crime world, you know, for content creators and everything else. And so we're analyzing everything with AI. I'm having people authenticate the suicide note, working with forensics people to see if we can date the ink and the glue on the Post-it note and, you know, things like that. And then, you know, I'm having people do studies on women who commit suicide, and, you know, the methodology, I can't even speak right now, the methodology that they use, how they do it, you know, things like that. So we're doing a lot. And I'm still, there's so much information that Mary has. She's done such a great job that I'm still going through everything. Like, I'm still going through everything. So, you know, I work a full-time job, and I have a new show coming out, and there's all this stuff happening. So I only have like an hour every day to do this, which is not enough time. But luckily, everybody in the community is really wanting to help. So the goal here is, like, if we can get, maybe we might not be able to get an answer, but maybe we can help Mary and all these wonderful ladies that have been working on this get answers. Maybe. Or maybe we can get people talking about it more. You know, I don't know.
Yeah,
but we are digging in.
I really hope we can, especially, off of the recent with Micah. But this is a case that I've been wanting to discuss for a while. It's been on my list for YouTube, actually. So definitely need to get some attention to it for sure.
Oh, okay, great. Justice for Natalie Jones says, Mary and I have a good live recorded on Natalie's page on YouTube. Lots of good intel for anybody that wants to listen. That's great. At this point, I don't know if I can take any more information in about Heather, because there's so much I still have to go through, but it's good to know that we can go, maybe I can get some sub teams to go timeline that and get transcripts of that live. You know, and that's what we're doing. So we have about 100 people working on little bits and pieces of Heather Turner's case. And so I have to go through all these documents Mary, you do not need to be sorry, sweetheart. You are a rock star in every essence of the word. So we've got about 89 or 90 people. I can't remember how many people exactly, but it's a lot. And I'm sifting through the documents to determine what I can release to them and what I can't, because there's some things that are, sensitive, that I've told Mary that I'm not going to release publicly, and things like that. So I'm trying to determine what I can release to them and create more sub teams within those 80 90 people, and they're doing a great job. I mean, we've already got like a couple tasks done and off and running. So it's going to take some time, though. She really is, Stacy. She's wonderful. She's been doing this by herself, and I can't. All the emails she sent me with all the detail. I mean, she has letters to me and she goes into excruciating detail in every document. You can tell she's very passionate about justice for Heather, and I really admire that. So thank you, Mary. I hope we can help you. And I hope we don't let you down. And I really do. Anyway, that's a very brief overview of Heather's case. Very brief. We will be doing a live probably pretty soon, presenting it, right? We're going to present it from start to finish, like, a basic timeline. We'll probably play the 911 call. I think I have all of that kind of already here. Yeah, I do. Can you know what's weird is I can't hear when I'm playing. Can you guys hear it?
Calling to report?
Wife shot herself.
Yes, I hear it.
Shot herself.
Okay, I hear it.
Well, I'm not going to play it now because I want to.
Take a deep breath.
With it, I want to put a transcript.
Ooh, I haven't listened to it. I've looked through like a lot of like the.
Sir, take a deep breath. Responders, sir, take a deep breath. Responders are being notified that I have no questions for you. It's not going to slow them down. What's the phone number you're calling me from?
I'm trying to get back to my Prezi, but I have 100 tabs open. Okay, there we go.
Understand.
Yeah, you know how it is. So yeah, we're gonna play that, and when we present the case, we're gonna put a transcript up, because it is hard to hear. So I do need I'll make a task when we're done here for somebody to do that for me. We have, the reports from the coroner's office. We have everything. So we're gonna present everything, and we're really gonna dig into this. One thing I had a question on, Mary, was the Justice for Heather Turner page on January 25th said that the GBI medical examiner's autopsy on Heather, which is being held very tight, the bullet entered the left side of her head. Heather was right-handed. I just wanted to verify that with you. Is that correct? Hi, Ethan. Oh, look at who's here. Look at him. Hi, Ethan. So Mary, is that correct? She was right-handed and the bullet went in her. That is correct. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure, because the coroner's report says right. So I just wanted to make sure that there was that I had it right, because that's very, very interesting. How do you shoot yourself on the left side of your head with your right hand? Right?
My brother
did he?
Wasn't it up?
Yeah.
No. So your brother.
He did not shoot himself with the hand that he used daily. Nope.
Really? Interesting. So, okay, there you go. There we go. So maybe it's not that, and this is what the studies that I'm having done are going to find out, right? Like how many exactly justice for Natalie Jones. This is what I want to know the statistics. And because I'm very much an evidence girl, right? Like I want things with data. I want to know statistics. I want to know how many times women do this in their nude, and things like that. So these are things that we haven't done yet that we're getting the data on now. Because I can sit here and say women probably don't shoot themselves often, but am I right about that? I don't know. I need facts. So that's what we're doing now. Peachy, did you have anything you wanted to add about Miss Heather?
No, you've pretty much covered it all. Yeah, I think this is a really good start, and
there's a lot going on. He's very JP Miller, right? He's a degenerate. He texts young women for photos, just like JP Miller. He's a degenerate. He's a narcissistic degenerate, right? And he did not do right by his wife. He did,
right?
Yeah.
And he has a history, and he has a history post Heather with a former nanny girlfriend. She was 27 years old and is I'm not sure how old she is now, but you know, so there's a history there too. Yeah, there's so much.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Lots of layers.
And
lots of layers.
And once this presentation is done, you know, I'll obviously go through everything. But I'm clearly, you guys, I mean, I literally just started this last week. So it's nowhere near, you know, ready to go. Like look at it. I mean, it's very, it's very bare.
Louis Vuittons. Sorry.
Oh yeah, he was obsessed. He was obsessed with red bottom shoes.
I did see that. But at Six Flags, oh my God.
And this, you guys know that from the Discord that as soon as I seen this, I was like, something's up with this, because the judges' signatures don't match. Well, I learned that clerks are oftentimes authorized to sign for judges, right? So I was like, oh, okay. But at first I was like, this is false. This is a false marriage license. There's no way this is real. And the dates are goofy. So they got married, it says here, on May 2nd. All right. May 2nd on the city of Dallas, Paulding County, Georgia. Right. And it's signed by the minister, Gary Huff. Right. But it wasn't recorded until February 11th, which is like 9 months later, 11 months later, something. It was 10 months, something like that.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, in the state of Georgia, I mean, it has to be done within 30 days, so that would be null and void.
Well, of course, I went and looked it up. In Georgia, a signed marriage license must be returned to the probate court within 30 days of the wedding ceremony.
Right.
Now, there's no criminal penalty for failing to record the marriage, but the marriage may not be valid without the license it's expired. Right? Well, we learned another big bombshell about this marriage license, but I'm not going to go over it right now. I'm going to save it. But suffice it to say, I don't believe this marriage license is valid. I just don't.
I don't either.
I think, right. So these are the kind of things that we're going to be getting into. This is her beautiful family. She was an absolutely gorgeous woman who, by all accounts, everyone who knew her, just said that she was amazing. She liked to sing. She was a good mom. She was raised by her aunt Cindy. She was a stepmother who loved those kids too. She was just a really good person, and she was very devout. She loved church. I mean, she was a very devout. This is very similar to Mica Miller.
It's eerily similar. Yeah.
Very. So hopefully we'll get this done soon. Well, not soon, but we're going to be working on this for a long time. We're going to be working on this one for a long time.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Heather would light up any room. Right. That's what, and listen, I know people say that, but like, that's my understanding is that people just really loved her. People just,
you can tell, like looking at her picture.
Yeah.
She was just beautiful. And much like Micah Miller too, she was very talented, extremely talented, vocally, beautiful singer. Yeah.
And she's very pretty. And she was a mom, you guys. Like she was a mom. She's somebody's mom. Right? So we're gonna get into this. We're digging in, and every day Mary sends me new information, and I'm like, oh my God, how did you get this info? And just so people know, I did vet Mary. Mary probably doesn't know that. But I did vet her because I don't trust people that in the true crime world out here in these streets. I did vet her. She is who she says she is. She does have a relationship with all these people. She's the real deal. So thank you, Mary, for bringing this to our attention.
Yes.
I know,
You
Mary.
cannot trust people in these streets.
Mary, you can't give away my secrets, Mary. Listen, she's out here just giving away all my secrets out here. But yeah, that's Heather Turner. And we're like I said, we're really diving into this. And AI is going to be playing, well, hopefully playing a big part in it. And hopefully we get to the point with AI where I can be like, look, AI, go through everything that you have learned about Heather Turner, because I'm telling everything about Heather to AI. What do you think happened? You know, and at some point in our lives, you guys, I really think AI is going to be like, this is what happened.
Yep.
So anyway, that's what we're working on now.
Wrong. But yeah,
right.
It's crazy.
Sometimes it's wrong. Yeah, but it's interesting. Yeah. I just think it's an interesting analytical tool. It obviously isn't going to be perfect, and you know, there's going to be some things wrong with it, but we are working on it. Mary is an angel. I agree. She really is. So that's Heather Turner.
She really is.
And yeah, that's Heather Turner.
So
we'll be talking about that more. What'd you say, Neil?
No, we might not want to talk about. I don't know. I was going to ask. Jennifer said that she was praying that Lexi will tell eventually. And I was going to ask.
So Lexi is Heather's daughter.
That's what I was going to ask. Okay.
At the home. Lexi was at the home when this all happened. Yeah. And we're going to get into that too. We're going to get into that too. About what happened that morning and where everybody was. I do need to talk to Mary about what I can and cannot say. I'm very hesitant to talk about the children because, you know, they're kids and this is their mom. And I don't want to upset anybody. So I need to talk to Mary and I'll be doing that when we get to that point about what I can say about Lexi. Yeah, Velma. So yeah, okay. So we're going to be getting into that. So Velma is on one of the teams. She's been working on the suicide note, and she got news today that the ink, it's too old to be dated, basically. So we're not going to be able to date, because I kind of have the idea that Heather wrote this. Heather was a prolific note writer, right? She wrote long, beautiful notes to people all the time. And her suicide note was, I'm going to be paraphrasing, but it was like 2 sentences, and it was, I'm sorry, I love you. Or I love you, I'm sorry. It was one of those. And it was on a Post-it note. And to me, that seemed unlike Heather, right? To not say anything to her children, because Heather, unfortunately, experienced her mother's death early on in life too. So you would think that Heather, if she would have done this, would have been a little bit more, you know, vocal.
Yeah,
she would have said more.
Yeah, I agree. I think she would have been, well, she, just the things I've seen so far, she was a writer. She really took time and was very good with her words and liked to write. And I just cannot,
right. So my idea was that this was maybe a note that Andy kept from like a fight 6 months prior. Like they had a fight and she wrote him like a little, hey, I'm sorry. And he just kind of threw it in his desk drawer. I don't know. And then pulled it out. It's very sad, Ethan. I know.
Yeah.
It's very sad. So we're digging into this, Ethan. We're going to be talking about this a lot on TikTok and here. Yeah. So I just kind of thought maybe we could date the ink, right? And say it's 7.5 years old versus 7 years. You know what I mean? But if once the ink passes the 2-year mark, it can't be tested, which is interesting. I mean, I never knew that. So that's what we're doing now is we're still trying to look at the suicide note and stuff. Oh, Stephanie, I agree. It's definitely a red flag.
I think so too.
Yeah. But we're going to see things through. We're going to see things through and continue on to the next step, right?
Yeah, and the other thing too is you know, he says that he heard the noise at around 5:30 in the morning, and it's just but he waited until 6 o'clock, 30 minutes.
Yeah. We have that information right here. So the report here, the time occurred says 5:30. And then the latest possible time is 6:13. Right. And I think that's when maybe they arrived. Can't remember. Here we go. Yeah, 6:13. That's when they arrived. The initial 911 call though was at 6 a.m. So there was a half an hour time difference, and there's some discrepancies that we need to figure out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be important to get that 911 call transcribed, right? So that we can play it and
yeah, I think so too. Well, and it's really grainy, and his reception wasn't very good. It's kind of hard to listen to at some points, in my opinion. I mean, I've listened to it a number of times.
So Michelle's brought up a point that I also wanted to talk about. So when when you're writing on a pad of paper and the paper underneath your ink or your pressing gets indented with the things that you wrote on top of it, right?
Right.
Do we have the whole pad? Does do you know what I mean? Did they look at that? Or was it something she ripped off and wrote on the counter? Those are questions that we don't have answers to. But Michelle, you have to know that that's definitely on my list of things to look at. Yeah. So that was a good question, Michelle. Michelle's always got good questions.
Jennifer, it could be. It might transcribe that. I think it's definitely something we need to try to have done, because that is a part of the 911 call that.
So he wrote a book. This guy wrote a book, you guys.
I know.
We gotta get this book. Oh, Ethan, it's wild, babe. I gotta text you. It's crazy. It's 7 years old and it's still open. They have not ruled it a suicide or a murder. It's still open 7 years later. So the family just wants some answers,
I had a thought on the note. If he had like an indent from another note that she had written previously, could he have copied that indent and it looked like her handwriting?
I mean, I think anything's possible, and I don't know if there was any handwriting analysis done. I know that her Aunt Cindy said that she does believe that Heather absolutely wrote that, but I think she said she doesn't necessarily believe she wrote it that morning.
Okay, that was just a thought that I had.
Natalie Jones, maybe we might be able to have AI get it for us. I don't know. See, that's the thing, Stacey. I don't want to pay for his book, right? Somebody get a bootleg copy. Mary, you got one somewhere, I bet. You got a bootleg copy somehow, don't you? Let's get that. We'll find a way, you guys. We'll find a way. We're not paying for the book, though. I promise you that. So yeah, we have a lot to talk about with Heather Turner, but again, I'm really not prepared to talk about it because there's so much that I want to look at to get a better picture of Heather Turner before I just start blabbing. There's a lot. There is a lot. There's so much I had to buy more space on my cloud drive for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot. And she just sent me a bunch more. I was like, oh my God. Oh, really? Natalie Jones. So I pay for sorry, I can't think right now. I pay for AI. I have a license. So otherwise you can only do so many documents. You know, I paid a year. It was like $160. I'll send you the link. Do you have an email, Justice for Natalie Jones, that I can send you a link to that? Because I'm happy to do that. But yeah, send me an email or send me a message on TikTok and just send me your email or something. And I'll make sure you get interested in that. So yeah, okay. So anyway, Heather Turner, we're gonna dig into this. You guys want to go over our little Idaho situation?
Yeah, let's move on into Idaho.
All right, Idaho 4. Everybody knows this case. This is not. We're not. Well, that's not. You know what? That's not the right one.
We don't really talk about Idaho very much because there's really not a whole lot to discuss. Sometimes we do speculate on it, and sometimes we go over the documents as they are put out to the public. But we wanted to just kind of touch on that tonight too.
Okay, this is.
I actually, while I was I was doing some mapping. And I was reading the PCA for the mapping, I actually might have found something PCA wording wise that I want to talk to you guys about, actually, which is interesting that I don't know if we've talked about it before, the way that it's worded.
Okay.
Love it.
So I'm interested about this.
Yeah. Do you want to do that first or do you want me to do this one real quick?
No, go ahead. It's up to you.
Okay. So we talk about Idaho quite a bit. We haven't lately, but all of us have talked about Idaho since it happened. And we've all, and everybody on YouTube is talking about it. We're not breaking any ground here. But there's one thing that we have been talking about a little bit that I really haven't seen a lot of people talk about. And that is Maddie's room. And so I just kind of want to show a quick little presentation on Maddie's room. So this, of course, is Maddie. She's so cute. And she's standing in her room. You can see her little table there. You don't, her boots are in the window. I'm just trying to show you how small her room is, right? There, she's sitting at her desk. You can see the M in the background. She's got a small, cute little desk. You can see this is from the outside, the patio that loops around to her room. She doesn't have a door like Kaylee did, but she did have patio view. And then, of course, these are different angles, right? So this is like a mock-up of the home. And you can see Maddie's desk and the windows there. And of course, this is the same desk we see here. Oops. Okay. The end of the bed, the way the door opens, the little space right here in between the door and the desk. Just trying to give you because of what I'm going to be talking about. Okay. This was a video that I got a still from on Fox News. All right. And it's the next night or that night. I'm sorry. And of course, news crews have descended upon, Idaho or Moscow. And this is from one of the cameras there. And it's looking, you can see Kaylee's room above and the slider below. Okay. And if we try to zoom in a little bit, I don't know how much you guys can see. I need to make this bigger. I'll do that next time. I'll make this bigger. But you can see that Kaylee's bedding is turned down. And it's turned down in such a way that it was made and slept in, but turned down to get out of bed quickly. It's not messy. It's just the covers are kind of thrown back. And I don't know if you can see that, but I can promise you that's what it is. So on Halloween, the FBI went back to Moscow to do a Faro scan. Faro, tomato. So they're doing a 3D scan of the house. And they set up these targets to calibrate and target for the scanners. And you can see from this photo, this is looking into Maddie's room, that tiny little room with the desk. But if you look closely, you can see sheetrock has been cut out, or drywall. I don't know what that is, you guys. I'm not a construction worker. I don't know what it is. The wall has been cut, right? Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
I can, but I'm
it
on
looks
my
like a hole.
computer.
Yes.
So this is my really bad approximation of the wall they cut out. Okay, now we've learned from Kaylee's parents and the PCA that both girls were found in bed, right? In Maddie's room. Now, we've also learned from Kaylee's mom, God bless her, my heart breaks for her, but we learned from Kaylee's mom that Kaylee was scooched all the way up, kind of sitting upright, right? Against, so I don't know if I have the picture of the headboard. I don't. Oh, thank you, Fuel. Okay, good. So they cut this yellow piece out, right? Now, it is a small room, so it is possible that there was blood spatter all the way on the other end of the bed, from the other end of the bed. Absolutely. Exactly, Stacy. So here's what I kind of, Megan, she's not here, but Megan and I kind of hem-haw about this a little bit. And I'm hesitant to even say this, but I'm going to. Is it possible, you guys, that Kaylee was in her room? She wasn't in Maddie's room. She was in her room. She heard a noise. Someone's here. Went into Maddie's room, caught the suspect at his most intimate moment, got furious, and took her here in the yellow area, around that area, and threw her onto the bed. Now, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter because they both died and it's tragic. But it, you know, as people who like to talk about this kind of stuff, it's interesting to try and figure out how it happened. And it's been a long, you know, standing theory that Maddie and Kaylee, you know, they were super close, were, you know, spending the night in the same bed, and that's still very well may be possible. This is just an alternative theory. It's an alternative theory. Was Maddie in her room, heard a noise, said someone's here? We know in the PCA somebody said someone's here. We don't know how they said it because the PCA doesn't give us any kind of inflection. Did somebody scream it? Did somebody go, oh, someone's here? Did somebody say, someone's here? I mean, we don't know how it was said. Why did they cut this huge piece of sheetrock out of the wall? But here's the problem. This is the only angle I have. I don't know if they cut sheetrock out of the other side. Exactly. Now, we've learned from Mr. Consalves, Kaylee's father, that Kaylee's injuries, according to him, were more severe. And that's kind of why I said Kaylee interrupted him at his most private moment. He was pissed. He was pissed, right? Furious. And he took it out on her.
I agree.
I agree
Me
with that as
too.
well.
I think it's
I do
I think
too.
it's possible. I don't necessarily think that's what happened, but I think it's possible. No, I still think he went.
I think an indication is the dog being left in Kaylee's room is an indication that Kaylee was in her room. I would assume that if they were going to sleep together, Murphy would probably come too. Like sleep on the floor or wherever, right? I don't think that Kaylee would necessarily like leave him
to be
in her
fair, we
bedroom
don't.
by himself.
I agree with you, Gianna, but also we don't know if Maddie was like, I don't want dogs in my room and my bed. I mean, she could have been.
Yeah.
She could have been, but he's also a golden doodle who, and I don't think they shed like normal. I don't know, like
They
we have
don't.
dogs.
They're
that,
more hypo. Yeah.
Yeah, like are hypoallergenic. It's not like the same like quote unquote dog smell or like dogness as a lot of other dogs, if that makes sense, because they have more like hair, not fur. I don't know. I tend to agree with the theory because of the throwing off the covers, closing the door behind her with Murphy just like in the room, right? Like we don't know if he was in a crate or what, like just in the room. And just like walking in and him being kind of stuck in there because she never came back.
Right. She never came back.
Yeah, I agree with that. That would make sense why he was shut in there. She left.
And it would make sense as to when Dylan said, I heard them like playing with the dog. It would make sense that if Kaylee got up really quickly, like out of her bed or was like walking around her room, like trying to listen, that Murphy was like upstairs, like getting excited, like, oh, mom, what are we doing? Right? Like we were just laying down. We were just sleeping. Like you got up really quick. Like maybe he was like ready to be playful with her and like get up and go, right? Because she got up quickly. Dogs tend to do that. If you get up quickly, they like get up quickly because they're like, oh, what's going on? Right? I wonder if that's what she heard when she said, I heard them playing with the dog. That's what she heard was like a scuffle of him jumping off the bed and going towards the door and Kaylee going, towards Maddie's room and all of that.
That would make perfect sense as well. That would explain the playing noise. Yeah, I see it.
So yeah, anyway, we just wanted to talk about that because like there might be people talking about it, I just haven't seen it. Stacy asked earlier, does that mean X and E were first, Xana and Ethan? And no, it doesn't. I definitely think Maddie was the target, and I've thought that since the PCA because that's where the knife sheath was found. I assumed that she was first. Listen, I could be wrong about that. I could absolutely be wrong about that. Just what I think. Okay, Stacy says, I have thought for a long time X and E were first, and the girls maybe caught something. K ran to tell M someone's here. You know what? Maybe.
It also makes sense for when Steve Goncalves made that.
Thank you,
like,
Natalie
statement
Jones Justice. Thank you.
Where he goes, he said something like that he didn't have to go upstairs. Remember when he said that?
Yes, I remember that.
Kate, yes, I do remember that.
It would make sense. It would make sense if he did start downstairs, like, oh, he didn't have to go upstairs.
Right. I tend to think that was just him talking. Like he didn't have to do this. Like, why did he have to do this? I just assumed it was just a dad, in grief. But anything's possible. Anything's possible.
I always thought that Maddie, like you bodied, that Maddie was the target because of the knife sheath, and that Xana had been in the kitchen warming up her DoorDash or whatever, and Koberger stumbled, like came down the stairs, saw her, chased her to her room, and that's how that played out.
Yeah, I agree. That I do agree with. I think Xana with the DoorDash, I think that he ran into her in some way, and that's what happened. But we'll never know. I guess we won't really know unless unless they can prove what happened or he tells. I don't know.
Well, I think that they'll know the order of operations very quickly, because if, let's say, Maddie was first, her wounds won't have any other DNA in it.
Right.
Yeah.
So whoever was last could have a mixture, and I don't know if they even listen. I don't even know if they check for that. I really don't.
I would assume in this case, when there's 4 of them, that they would,
Yeah,
to
that
get
they
the
would,
order, they
right?
would want to know. Yeah, that they would want to know, at least, if they could
Right.
try.
Right.
But
What if, so Velma says, what if she was in bed with Maddie and she was woken up and went to get up and run and he slammed? Yes, absolutely. Sure. That's entirely possible too.
I just,
that's
I
kind of what
don't,
I think.
them being in bed together, like, I understand that they, like, would often do that. I just feel like maybe they would do that on nights where they were, like, watching a movie or hanging out at home. I just don't know
Well,
that
but
they would, like, come home from the bar and be like, ready to
well,
pass out and be like, let's sleep together. I don't know. I just
she
tend to
was
think like,
Kaylee was leaving. Kaylee was leaving. It's entirely possible that they were like, let's have another, like, one last slumber party, you know?
but they said that Steve said that she had been long moved out of the house by then. That this
Yeah,
wasn't,
but
that she
this
wasn't
was like,
staying there at all. That she was just
right.
visiting. So this wasn't like a, I don't know. I just don't, I don't know. I
I know,
don't
Gianna,
know.
I'm with you. I'm playing devil's advocate with you right now.
No, I know.
I
I'm just trying. I just don't
you
know
know,
that
and
after a
you
long
know, when
day and night of drinking, that they would be like, they would want to be uncomfortable. You know, when you get like, you're just ready to go to bed in your own bed or like in a bed by yourself. Like she had the dog, she had her, like it's like a whole thing. I don't know. I wouldn't.
I want to read this comment really quick. So, Fuel, yeah, we've actually talked about that too. If the perp is interrupted, that might be when he drops the sheath, or the perp drops it because they're fighting to the girls. I think it was the element of surprise when Kaylee came in, and just with his anger and his rage, because he was interrupted, like Bonnie said earlier, that it was he dropped it.
Yeah.
And you know, Velma brings up a good point too. Weren't they maybe girl talking, drunk texting exes? Yes, they were.
Yeah.
But
earlier
but what we don't know, it was earlier in the night, and I think Kaylee's phone died because Kaylee's mom said, you know, when she tried to get a hold of Kaylee the next morning, it was going right to voicemail. So that tells me her phone died, and she didn't have a charger because she didn't live there anymore. And she went into Maddie's room to get her phone or her charger or something.
I tend to think that there was something that set him off to like rampage the rest of the house. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he went in on intending on killing 4 people. I think, like Body is saying, I think he was, like you said, it pissed him off. And then he was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I already killed one more person than I intended to. I'm pissed. I'm about to go, like, fuck all these people. Like, I don't know.
Right.
I just think that obviously something went awry.
Right.
With the level of rage he had with that knife, it's hard to stab people like that. It's not an easy task.
Right.
In the short time frame, too. And that actually can lead into what I found in the PCA, too.
Okay, good. Yeah, let's do it. But I want real quick, people are like, well, why didn't they scream? Why didn't they this? And so for that show I did, the Resolve show, I had to do like all this research on stabbings. And one of the things I learned about people who get stabbed is they very rarely scream, especially when the stabbing occurs in your chest, because you can't get air.
Right.
It's very quiet. I didn't know that.
I remember you talking about that. And didn't you say that it was almost like 100% of them? It didn't matter where they were stabbed.
I don't remember that. I don't remember the details of it. I do remember the study I read said that it very rarely happens that they ever scream. It's very
it's their lungs.
Yeah.
Right. And it's something I never thought of.
Yeah. I mean,
but yeah, that would be why it's quiet.
And I feel like it's more of a shock when I feel like a gun, you like see it more. Like it's lifted up and pointed at you, where a knife can be very like discreet. It could be like more of a shock. Like it could be more discreet. So you're like not ready to like have a breath full to like scream either.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
And then you're just worried about your pain at that point. Once you get stabbed, you're like in so much pain. I don't know.
I don't know. Does anybody remember Olivia saying Murphy was lost when they got home and the girls went out and looked for him, then changed it up to him getting walked by the girls? Maybe the call was to Jack looking for Murphy. Yeah, maybe. I do remember that.
Slightly remember that, but I
there's been so much. There's been so much that's happened,
I always thought the phone call to Jack was like maybe a tipsy girl calling her ex-boyfriend that she misses. Because I mean, personally, I've been there and I've done the same thing. Like,
I need a breathalyzer
why
for my
aren't you
phone.
answering? I need to talk to you right now. And like, you're ready to pour out your feelings and he just didn't answer.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure we'll find out that information because obviously Jack, has voicemails or text messages from that time, but we don't really know right now.
There's going to be a lot of discovery.
So Gianna, what did you want to show for this timeline?
Okay. So we were talking about like Kohberger and his routes, like where he was going and at what time he was seen, like where, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you want, I can pull up like what I have as far, because what was asked of me was to look in the PCA, find what the PCA says about the routes and like show it on like a map so people can see it visually instead of just hearing it with their ear balls.
Mm-hmm. Ear balls?
So let's see. Yes, your ear balls.
Let me remove this. Let me remove this from the stage.
Okay, and then I can just share.
Yeah, Michelle, the injuries are described differently. I think I know why they were described differently in the PCA. I think Ethan was not visible. I think he slid in between the wall and the bed. And they could not see his wounds.
Can you guys see that my screen or no?
I have to add to this stage. I haven't done it yet.
Oh, okay. Just making
but yeah, the injuries are described differently with Ethan, I think, because they couldn't see him. I talked about this on TikTok. And so they had to be pretty generic with his wounds. They couldn't see him. I think
it'd be great
because of the way he was laying.
That's just my opinion. I think it'd be great to touch on. I think he might have kicked his, like, oh my God, like been startled and kind of kicked. And when he did that, pushed the bed away from the wall a little bit. And when he succumbed, he slid down the wall.
Maybe.
In between the bed, and the wall. So when the, hey, Alicia. So when the cops arrived before the coroner and before everything else, when the PCA gets documented, basically, they couldn't see his wounds.
Yeah.
I also think it'd be great to touch on how Xana was described in the PCA.
Yeah,
they describe her differently.
Mm-hmm. They do. She had to. They describe her that they had to. My impression in the PCA is that they had to identify her through her license, which was in her room. Which
same.
Yeah.
So these are things that we'll be talking about in other lives when we do more in-depths about Idaho. I don't think this is anything groundbreaking. That we're talking about. I don't think we have some sort of, crazy theories or anything like that. But this is what we're going to be talking about. All right, Gianna, tell us what you got.
Okay, so. This is a little visual representation of BK's travels through where he was going. So
he cute with their little cars. How cute is
my
that?
little cars. So at 2:44 a.m. is the first time that they like see his Elantra, right? And the reason that they like think and know that this is his Elantra, they kind of backtracked it, right? So they talk about the later times first and then the earlier times because they caught his car on the cameras in Idaho and then backtracked it kind of to Pullman. So he came just like that. He followed this path, 244. He came down this road, 253. He came to the 270 here, and he went to. That's the route he took. He took the 270 to go to Moscow.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, what the hell? Okay. So then,
can you do a slideshow instead of this? But
yeah,
okay,
I
that's
guess
fine.
I could.
No, it's okay. You're good. No, it's fine. Yeah.
I'm not really good at slides. I don't usually use this platform for my slides.
You're good, honey. You're fine. You're fine. It just makes it bigger. That's all.
Here, just do I hit slideshow? Start slideshow. Yeah, that makes it bigger, right? Okay.
Yeah, and then you should have little arrows to go through everything. Done.
Yeah, I can do that. Okay.
Let me hide this banner because I think that's okay. There you go.
Okay, cool. So then the next time they talk about his car is at 3:26 a.m. and he's traveling westbound on this Indian Hill Drive, the 700 block of the Indian Hills Drive, and he comes up to this Steiner Avenue and he makes a left and goes towards, which we'll see over here, is going to be the King Road area. King, Queen, all of that. So we go here. So if you see, this is where we just were.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes this way. This is the route he takes. Now, this is where I want to talk. This is like the specific area of question is in the PCA. It says from 3:29 a.m. to 4:20 a.m. There's multiple sightings of his car starting and ending, right? This is kind of what they speculate he kind of did, right? This is kind of what he drove by many times. He kind of did a circle through this Walenta and around.
Working up his courage, maybe.
Yeah, because he just hadn't turned yet. He just hadn't really turned into it yet. Now, this is where I want to talk about this, okay? Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area a 4th time because he did the circle 3 times. Now he's entering a 4th time at approximately 4:04 a.m. Okay. What we've talked about in the past is the time frame of this, right? How long was he? Because he was leaving at 4:20, so we're already down to 16 minutes. But if we really look at what they are saying in this next part, this is how I just read it. And I was like, wait a second. So he comes in at 4:04 a.m. for the 4th time. He's then seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping, turning around in front of 500 Queen Road, driving back westbound on King Road. When he's in front of the King Road residence, it appears he unsuccessfully attempts to stop and park or turn around in the road. Okay, so this is all happening after 4:04 a.m.
Yeah.
Not before.
Right.
Right? So people are like, oh, 4:04, 16 minutes. I'm like, no. No.
Right.
Because he did all of this and then parked his car, got out of his car, and walked into the house at some point in some area, right?
Right.
Let's
say maybe 4:07, maybe 4:06, possibly.
I don't know. I think no. I think it would take more than 2 minutes to make all of these turns, then go park your car, get out, and go into the house.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Because he had to come down, do a K-turn, come down around.
Didn't Brian Eaton Enton do this? And I think somebody did.
So I think you're right.
And I think they
remember.
I don't remember. We'll have to find it.
In the dark.
Maybe
I
for
don't
the
know
next
if we hit
one.
it. Yeah,
And
I
I want to say it took 2 minutes. That's
I've been
I
there.
don't know.
It doesn't take that long. I did the drive.
I mean, they're tiny streets.
And you turned around and did all of the turnarounds and everything?
Yep. You can do it. They're tiny streets, but they have big parking areas that you can turn around in pretty quickly.
Yes. Gray Hughes did it. That's right. I knew somebody did it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
Gray Hughes.
from what my understanding is that this, I don't know, maybe this was just where I didn't understand, is that all of this turning around and like doing this happened prior to 4:04 a.m. Right during that
Oh,
3:28
so you
to
thought it meant
4:04.
Oh, I gotcha. So you thought he went in at 4:04, maybe.
I thought that he parked his
No.
car. Maybe he parked at 4:04 because that really brings us
Here's what I
down
think.
a
I
lot.
think the DoorDash. I think he saw the DoorDash, and that's why he kept driving around.
Yes, I agree.
Could've
I
been,
think
for
that he
sure.
saw the DoorDash driver.
No, for sure, he was in the area. I mean, he drove this like circle
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah.
lot of times, for 3 times exactly. But I don't know. I think that I would put it closer to like 4 minutes. Right.
Okay,
In my
that's
opinion,
possible.
I think
Yeah.
4 minutes to go, because remember, it's dark. He's like about to go
Mhm.
kill somebody. Like he's not like
Right.
he's not rushing. He's not like late for like an appointment.
Right.
He's
Right.
being cautious. And then if he saw the DoorDash, he's like waiting for the DoorDash to leave. He's not like rushing, in my opinion. Like at this point, he's not rushing. When he gets to the house, he's probably rushing. But
Mhm.
I just thought that was interesting, that I don't know if
It
anybody else
is.
had like a weird, I guess my understanding was different. Maybe other people's understanding was different of the 4:04 time frame of this. I thought
Well, I
all of this
think it
turning around happened
illustrates it
before.
well. I
I
think
thought
it
it
I think it
happened before.
illustrates it well.
Yeah, I thought it happened before. That's all. I was like, wait a second. Hold on. Hold, please.
No.
All of this happened
Because there
after?
was such a contention because the PCA, the DoorDash arrived around 4:00 or something like that, right? It doesn't say
Right.
precisely at 4 a.m. So there was a big contention about that. Did he run into the DoorDash driver? Is the DoorDash driver the informant? Is he a protected witness? Blah, 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 blah. There's all this information about the DoorDash driver, or lack of information,
Right.
I should say. The DoorDash driver was quote unquote never cleared on the Moscow website. That's why, is because of this time dilemma
Yes.
in the PCA.
Stacy has a good point. What if he
Why
saw the
would he
door?
risk it if
If he saw the
right.
DoorDash, that would
Yeah.
you would assume people are awake, right? Because they're ordering DoorDash.
Yep. Right.
So that might be true.
A lot
Maybe
of
he
people
didn't
say
see
that,
DoorDash.
Stacey. And that's another contention that a lot of people have with this entire case is he had to see the front of the house. He had to know Ethan was there, Kaylee was there, this new Range Rover is there. It's full of cars, and there's a DoorDash driver. Like, that's a lot, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's a
that's a
lot of
lot to contend
movement.
with. Oh, lost Nikki.
It's a lot of movement. Also, somebody made a point too. It is also a small area for it to take him.
It's a very tight area.
30 minutes. Well,
area.
it took him 30 minutes to make 3 passes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then it took him, I think that's why I think it took him a little bit. I think he was more hesitant than people are giving credit to. And he was in the house for a shorter period of time.
Maybe it took him so long because the first time around he was navigating, trying to figure out the key turning points, because in the dark back there is very confusing. So maybe that's why it took him so long the first couple of times.
I think he knew exactly where he was going. I think
That's
he knew
true.
the area
Like if he was there before.
I think he was there before. Why is there 2 of me on the panel? I don't know, Nikki.
Yeah, I don't know.
I only see one.
We're having a
No, I
technical
see 2.
difficulty, I think.
Let me remove. There we go. How's that? Are you still
Um,
there, Nikki?
And then this is the way that the
Yeah.
detective said that he left. That's all. He came out, he went down Walenta to this Casolda or something drive, and then down this way, down this Colt. Cuse, that's what it's called. Cuse Drive down here. and then out this Palouse River Drive. That's what they assume that he did. That's just what the PCA says, in my opinion, in my whatever, however he words it, in my expertise, or in my years of work. I don't know why the word's escaping me.
Right.
But that's how they think that he left. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. The PCA, it's an interest. I don't know why they made it so the way that they Contestoga Drive. That's what it was.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was the
anything else with Idaho? We have a couple court cases coming up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have on the 23rd, we have two. One is at 1:30 and it's sealed and it's regarding IGG. So there's not going to be any YouTube of this at all. And then at 2:30 on the 23rd, same day, they have the defense's fourth and fifth motion to compel. And that's really scheduled for the 30th. But the witness that they're bringing in to testify isn't available on the 23rd. Or I'm sorry, the 30th. So they're letting him do it on the 23rd at 2:30. And then, of course, on the 30th is the, finishing up the defense's fourth and fifth moment to compel. And I think that's all that's coming up, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I would love to kind of touch, and we don't have to do this tonight, but the defense's response to the state's motion to limit witness testimony regarding the PCA. I would love, Gianna got me kind of thinking there with that wording. What is it that the defense is saying that they're going to dig into on? That they're like, no, this is still important.
Yeah.
So
I'm interested too.
I talked about this in Discord, but y'all never pay attention to anything I fucking say.
We do pay attention.
No, you don't. So it says in there, Anne is saying, here's what's going on. Anne is saying that Brian Kohberger absolutely has the ability to challenge the PCA. The state is saying the PCA is now irrelevant, right? But Anne is saying no, and there's case law that tells us it's not irrelevant. And here's 3 cases where reliability of the PCA was, or the probable cause was an issue. In State versus Thompson, they found that the informer, the reliability of the informer was an issue as related to a probable cause for a wiretap. In State v. Hosey, they found the informer's reliability an issue when it came to the probable cause for a search. In State v. Pendleton, they found the field performance of the dog lacking, or the drug dog lacking, in relevancy to a probable cause inquiry. So probable cause can be questioned. And here's the case law showing you that it can.
I mean, yeah, that's what was used to literally arrest the guy. So yeah, I think it could be in question. I mean, hello,
Right.
like you can't just say it's irrelevant now. Like, I don't think so.
Right.
Right. It's definitely
so that's what I took from it.
Yeah, you can definitely question it, but it is also, in a way, and that's why it's difficult, it is irrelevant because it is a probable cause. It's just to arrest somebody. It's not to charge somebody. So that's where I think confusion comes into, because Idaho does have these weird rules and regulations, and under the Idaho 16 period, that ICR is just insane if you read it all. So I mean, there's a bunch of different ways both the state and the defense can go at it, but technically it should be able to be questioned because, of course, it's something that was used to, arrest him, and that's where he is sitting right now, is in jail. But technically, a PCA, probable cause, is just for probable cause to arrest. It's not probable cause to convict. It's It's not probable cause to take to trial. It's just to get you arrested. And this probable cause, unlike a lot of other ones that I've covered, is very big compared to a normal probable cause. They're about 3 to 5 pages. This one is over 14, over 18. There's several pages to the PCA. And I think maybe that's where Anne's coming in and wanting, like, no, okay, we do need to question this because this is definitely, you know, a big probable cause. Like, you guys are saying a lot is going on in here for you to arrest him, even though they really only needed a little tiny piece in there for that arrest, because that's what that probable cause is for. It's just literally to be able to arrest somebody.
Right. I wonder if they're going to call into question. We know how she's been harping on the cast information and specifically his cell phone tower pings. And that's a lot of the probable cause, is putting him there with video camera footage of a white Elantra and based off of his cell phone pings. So I would love to like dig into that and maybe do some like, well, this is a little bit of, ooh, maybe they could question this kind of thing. I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah,
Gianna
that's what she's
got my brain
trying.
going.
Yeah, she's trying to do a, you know, what her job is, right? She knows she can't question certain things because there's obviously stuff we haven't seen that I'm pretty sure she's aware of, and there's probably stuff she's not aware of. But she's trying to get him off on a technicality. Okay, that's her next best thing that she's able to do, because if we pay attention to the things that she talks about in court, what she claims she needs more time for, what she claims she hasn't received, what she needs to proceed, it's technicality things. She's trying to find an error. She's trying to find where something was not done properly so she can remove this. But as a defense attorney, a high profile one, she should know that regardless if she was to get the PCA thrown out, the arrest warrant tossed, he can be re-arrested with a new probable cause report. The indictment, this is another thing that I meant to make a video on a couple of weeks ago. I do have one brief video on TikTok about it. If the indictment did not get thrown out, there's not really any damage that is done prior to him being arrested, meaning probable cause, because if there was, and there was any misconduct like she claimed, it would have been, and it wasn't, because several high-end people, judges, Supreme Courts, things like that, have all looked over this, and they don't see an issue. They don't see what she's seen. But again, her job is to see that kind of stuff and try to get some kind of technicality.
Well, to be fair, it's known for that they can indict a ham sandwich. So
Exactly.
I mean,
Well, grand jury, yeah.
yeah,
Right.
the grand jury, it didn't go to the normal, you know, it went to the grand jury. And
No,
they
but I
can
mean,
indict
like
you for
the
fucking
Supreme
nothing.
Court, like denying her, that's a big issue. That means the Supreme Court doesn't see that they need to oversee this, that they need to, like, they believe that the judge and the district court and all of that's handling this right now is doing what they need to do, and that things have been done properly, or there would have been steps taken and things would have been thrown out. They haven't been because there's not a technicality right now. There's not.
Well,
That
wouldn't
she
that be a
hasn't
lot of
found.
politics though, more so too? But like, wouldn't it be, you know, they don't like to step on toes because, like, you know, you don't step on the other judge's toes as a Supreme Court judge because of the, you know what I
No.
mean? Like the
I mean,
dumb
I'm
bullshit
sure,
politics that happen.
yeah, I'm sure that there is some of that, but I don't think that would preclude a judge from making the right decision about something. I really don't.
Okay. I'm just wondering if that, you know, I don't know
Yeah.
much about it.
I mean, it would be, that would be ethically wrong.
I mean, yeah, but they all fucking, you know.
But I know.
They all fucking do it. I mean,
let's move on to Sebastian, because we're getting about 2 hours in, and my dogs are starting to get antsy, and you know how that is. But we wanted to cover a little bit about Sebastian because specifically me, was involved in something last night that I want to talk about. And I'm going to play it right now. Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Sounds
So
good.
last night I scrolled into a live with Sebastian Rogers' father's spokesperson, Tony Mathis. He was having a live, and I kind of came in the middle of it, and they were talking about this new bombshell, right? And I was like, what is going on? Comments were off in the live, so I couldn't, Alicia, I couldn't, I didn't know what they were talking about. Finally, they ended, and the comments came back on, and people were like, what are you guys talking about? And they repeated themselves. And I'm going to play for you what they said, or what happened. Okay, I'm going to play it right now. Give me a sec. I got to get it.
Rundown. So we had 3 new bits of information come in between last night and midday today. The first one was last night, which was we got evidence that showed that Sebastian was texting Katie's mom the night before he went missing. Nothing really significant or deep. He was texting her. But, we were led to believe that there wasn't really any communication between them. He was texting her about what a great breakfast he had had. I mean, it was all positive stuff.
Was that from his phone directly?
Correct.
Okay.
And then, so then on top of that, we got information that there's actual video footage of Sebastian from the 26th, which was much bigger. But then probably the biggest thing, in my opinion, that we got was that law enforcement had a theory the first 72 hours. And after that first 72 hours, their theory took a 180-degree turn, which I thought was huge. Because we know what their theory was early. It was that he ran away.
Someone in the chat just asked, how do we really know that it was him texting?
So that's the gist of it. There's a guy named Stephen Crabtree who lives in Hendersonville, and he is the one who was in the box earlier telling everybody that he went into the police station, asked a detective, basically said, listen, everybody on the internet is thinking you guys are slacking, right? I care about my community and I care about the police staff because he does drone searches for them or something. And I need to know and be able to report back to them that you guys are actually working this case. And apparently this detective shared all this information with him about Sebastian being seen on the 26th. So when I heard that, I hopped up there and I'm like, I fucking knew it. I knew he was seen on the 26th because the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation flyer tells us he was seen on the 26th. And then he starts, the Stephen guy continued talking, and the more he started talking, and I was like, wait a minute. I don't know if I have that recording of me. Do I have the recording of me going, wait a minute, what? No, I don't. Damn it. Anyway, I started questioning him. And, he's very kind and he's done nothing to make me doubt him. But I still am like, listen, dude, people troll all the time. And is it possible that you got the information wrong? Is it, is there any way you could have gotten this wrong? Because I don't think he's lying, right? I don't think he's the kind of guy that lies. But I do think it's possible that he got his information kind of mixed up or, something like that. And he was like, no, I've got it right. And I was like, okay, I'm going to hop down. I don't want to be, you know what I mean? I don't want to. And I talked to Tony this morning, and told him, hey, listen, I'm sorry that I wasn't trying to be rude. But I just don't believe this guy. I just don't. And he was like, no, he's not a liar. Tony's very kind. Tony is very kind. And he's like, he's not a liar. He's got a good reputation with law enforcement. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's great and everything, but I still don't believe him. I don't know what to tell you. So we're going to talk about that. What do you guys think?
I think it's really sus. I don't necessarily think he's a liar. I think kind of like what along the lines you were saying, that he either misunderstood the information or maybe got a little overzealous with the retelling of the information, because the way he made it sound was that it was confirmed that he was seen on camera, but it wasn't in the Stafford Court area that they're saying on the TBI flyer. It was closer to Hersham's, I think is what he was saying, if I remember correctly.
No,
But then, or
he didn't.
Was it in the?
No, there's two different things, and I think you're mixing them up. There's additional footage from Worsham's that they never got, or but
okay.
There's this big rumor that there was this pass off between Katie Proudfoot's mom, and who apparently Sebastian has been communicating with on his phone. Again, and there was a big pass off at the Worsham's.
Okay,
but they don't have footage of that. Right.
Okay.
So I made this little slideshow of TBI Amber Alerts. Okay. And I think this is important, you guys. In Sebastian's TBI alert, all right, he made an apology video saying he made a mistake with the info. I fucking knew it. Okay. Interesting.
Wait, what?
No, he made an apology video saying he made a mistake with the information.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I was pretty sure I thought I saw him do a video. Yeah.
Okay. Well, and that's okay. Great. Everybody makes mistakes, you know. Nikki. But yeah, we were sus of it. I mean, and again, it's nothing against him. You know, he's not done anything evil or malicious. I think he just made a mistake. You know. But going back to the TBI poster, it says he was missing since February 26th. That makes sense to me. On the 26th, Katie Proudfoot woke up and reported him missing. That's his missing since date, right? That makes sense to me. This doesn't. Sebastian was last seen on February 26th, 2024 in the area of Stafford Court in Hendersonville, Tennessee. And I'm going to tell you why that doesn't make sense. Sebastian was actually last seen on the 25th when Katie Proudfoot sent him to bed.
Right.
Unless there's information like from a dash cam or something that he was seen in the area of Stafford Court on February 26th. So when I heard that yesterday, I was like, oh my God, I've been talking about this, right? So let's go through some other TBI reports. Amber Wells. Summer Wells. Amber. What the hell? Amber Wells is Summer Wells.
Summer Wells.
God, her Amber Alert. This poor little girl. Summer is a 4-year-old white female. She was last seen wearing gray pants, a pink shirt, and probably barefoot. There's no real information on here on when she was last seen, but she's been missing since 6/15, right? Jordan Allen Gorman, a statewide endangered child alert has been issued on behalf of Chatham County Sheriff's Office for 9-year-old Jordan. Jordan was last seen at his residence. Why doesn't Sebastian say that?
Yeah, because he probably wasn't.
Right.
There must be a camera that picked him up somewhere.
And you guys, listen, I went and just grabbed random. I did not read these prior. I didn't select specific ones. I just picked literal random ones. And I'm putting them in the order in which I found them. This one, it says, it's pretty generic too. She may be in the area of Decatur, Alabama. Look at this little baby, Lily Bit. An Amber Alert has been issued issued by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation for 6-month-old Lily Bit. Lilibet went missing from a residence. These are kind of, Tennessee or TBI, if you're watching this by any chance, fix your freaking posters. The font is terrible. It's like unbelievable. He said they had footage of him on the 26th. Yes, his apology video says, I didn't mean to say they had video of him past the 26th.
Hold on, I'm trying to get the recording.
He specifically said,
That's what
Alicia,
Steven said yesterday, though, that the police told them they had footage of him on the 26th.
Hi, Amanda. Thank you, sweetheart. He said, okay, Steven's exact words. I was there, you guys. His exact words were, they have footage of him on the 26th. He said from and on the 26th.
Yes, correct.
Which is what the poster is saying.
And now you're saying the apology video says, I didn't mean to say they had video of him past the 26th. I don't remember him saying anything about the 27th or the 28th or the 29th or the 30th. It was on the 26th.
Right.
Right. Specifically, like he said it numerous times, specifically the 26th.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I've been the one that has been kind of played devil's advocate on this a little bit and said, like, police officers, they're not gods either, right? They gossip. Sure. They make mistakes. Sure. They say shit to people that they're not supposed to. If they get to, if they work together with somebody, if they worked with him before, they might feel comfortable saying something to him that they're not going to say to somebody else. Yep. And they've been less than communicative, I would say, during this whole thing than anything with the public. And what they do say is kind of contradictory of what they put out.
Right. Because if we look at the flyer, it says he was seen on the 26th, but then we went through those clips earlier today from press releases, and they specifically say that nothing was seen that has led us to Sebastian on any of the video footage.
Right. And I have that clip. I don't think we need to play it now because of this recent revelation, but it's always been my contention. No, it's always been my contention that they have something that leads them to believe he was last seen on the 26th. Right. And, I've often thought, that he left the house on his own. He was 15 years old. We recently learned that he was texting a girl at the Waffle House and asked her to come over and hang out, and she ghosted him. And he wanted friends and he wanted people in his life, his age. Is it possible that he snuck out to meet a friend? And, that friend wasn't necessarily a good person and said, hey, I get off work at the truck stop or whatever at 4 a.m. Meet me at 3 houses down from your house or behind your house or something. And I got the new Minecraft expansion for you. And he was like, yeah, okay. Didn't put his shoes on because they've got hardwood floors in the house. Didn't put his shoes on to just kind of run outside quickly to meet his quote unquote friend. And they took him. He didn't bring it. If he ran away, he didn't bring any of his money. He didn't bring his phone. He didn't bring any shoes. And then,
that's why I don't think he left voluntarily. Here's the thing.
I don't think he left. Let me be clear. I just want to be clear. I don't think he left voluntarily. I think he snuck outside and got snatched up.
Yeah. The one thing that gets me is I would tend to believe so much more. I think if the parents weren't so fucking suspect about everything, if everything wasn't so weird surrounding the aftermath of it, I would be like, yeah, this kid, somebody else is involved and took him, and he just walked out of his house on his own free will for whatever reason or this and that. If everything else was so smooth and so his parents were
Alicia.
so, you know what I'm saying? Like his parents were so like mourning the loss of their son the way that they're like his disappearance, and they were doing and it wasn't so like weird surrounding everything. It's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Alicia, you know, I was up there. You were up there when I was up there, babe. And I hopped down very quickly, and you got down right after me. I went back up later because I sat there and I was like, wait, what's going on here? Is this happening? And I went back up to kind of, you know, make sure that the audience understood that this was suspect information, because I kind of just left quickly and I wanted to make sure everybody understood to question this. So I went back up there, but you hopped down right after me. And I was like, I remember saying to myself, good girl. Like, I was like, yes, okay, good. I'm glad she got down. Yeah. I was very like, what is going on right now? So this is SF Investigates. And listen, I don't normally cover missing kids because it's not my wheelhouse. There's the parents involved and there's a lot of emotions, and I don't do well with those kinds of things. But Sebastian got to me, I think maybe because of the autism, and he just looks so sweet, but he got to me. So I've been invested. So I don't know who all these shady characters are. All right. But this is SF Investigates. And he mapped out, there was a phone call that Chris Proudfoot had with those divers, the NARC divers, I think. And it was recorded and put up on YouTube. And in that phone call, Chris describes the dogs. Now, Chris doesn't know it's being recorded, right? He describes the movement of the dogs. And SF Investigates, Steve Fisher, so this is to credit to him, mapped it out what Chris Proudfoot said the dogs did or hit on or something. And listen, I don't even know if this is verified. I'm just showing you what he said. And the path they think this happened is in the red there. You can see. It goes behind the house to the other road. What does that tell us? Is that even true? I don't even know. Oh, Jennifer, you were there. You were there too. Was it like, I mean, here's the thing, you guys. What you saw initially was my confirmation bias being like, oh my God, I was right. Do you know what I mean? And that's a bad thing. You get so wrapped up in your own theories and like, oh my God, I was right. But you can't do that. You have to be like, wait a minute. This can't be real, right? Like, this can't be real. And this is, I don't have anything against Steven or anything like that either. People make mistakes. It happens. But I said it over and over again when I went back up in the box. Like, are you sure that's what they said? Do you have any evidence of that? And nothing could be provided. Oh, sorry, Nikki. I don't know why you keep dropping. But yeah, what a fucking shit show. This case is nothing but fuckery. Nothing but fuckery.
All right, I'm waiting on a video. I know somebody got that. Like I said, I was just getting home yesterday, and then I popped in and I heard this, and I was like, who is this guy? Where is he getting this info? I'm not knocking nobody, but if you know me, you know me, and I'm going to be real. He said with confidence last night, that he was told things that he is now going back on. And this is the same reason why I say to be careful on who you listen to when they say, I'm telling you, I talked to, this is what they told me. If you didn't hear it straight from the person's mouth, if you weren't there, you can't believe it, because people like to jump on these cases. And I'm not saying that this is what this guy did, but people like to jump on these cases and say they have valid, confirmed, behind the scenes information, and they ain't got shit. They ain't got no more than the next.
Tony called me this morning and then again this afternoon. And I'm like, Tony, this happens in every big case. Everybody has the breaking story and nobody ever does. I said, it happens in every single big case, every single one. And he was like, no. And I'm like, dude, I'm promising. I almost said that to him, Ashley. I was like, dude, trust me, bro. Like, it happens all the time.
Yeah, trust me, bro.
I haven't talked to him tonight. I haven't talked to Tony tonight.
Look, and I think
Jennifer?
Tony's just listening to, these people that are saying they're, that they're helping and that they're getting this information where, and I'm not knocking him either, but like where Tony needs to be careful is, let's talk like he did, right? He called you, you guys had a private conversation.
Yep.
I'm sure he talks to other people. I've spoke to him.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I know that private things can be talked about and that, we can kind of sort through it and vet and do all of that there before taking it live, because exactly like last night, today it's everywhere. It's already been twisted. It's now saying that, Sebastian is with Katie's mom because they were texting the night before, and that's not what was said. And these people that are recording, okay, because I get sent some of these recordings, I know, and I tell them the same thing. Stop sending me 2 seconds, a minute and a half of a fucking 4-hour live, because that doesn't do me no justice, okay? I can't go off of that if I don't hear the whole thing and how it went into, what it went into, and all of that. Like, if you're going to record and send it all, post it on your page, make a damn recording page and post it. I don't know anymore, but the fuckery in these cases is getting disgusting, especially with Sebastian.
Yeah, this is a little kid, y'all. This is a little fucking kid. I mean, and like somebody asked me last night, like, well, do you think he's alive? And I'm like, I'm not answering that. He's just a little fucking kid.
Yeah.
I don't want to, you know what I mean?
That's another thing. Like, put your feet in the shoes for 2 seconds. What if this was your little brother, your son, your cousin, your nephew? You would not, and I don't care what you say, you would not want things to be spoke about your family member the way things have been spoke, not only about Sebastian, but Sebastian's family members that actually at this current moment are not involved. They are not suspects. They have not been looked at by law enforcement in that way. There is nothing to indicate foul play. Their family's past, their past, it matters, but it doesn't matter. Because regardless, the little boy is missing, and it has nothing to do with what happened 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Does it have something to do with the way maybe CP talked to this child, or to his mother, or decisions that maybe needed to be made? Maybe, we don't know, because we don't have the full story. We have only what we've been given. Is CP a little on the wild side? Yeah. And if you see this, CP, I would love to talk to you. I would absolutely love to talk to you. But I honestly don't think that CP did anything to Sebastian. The one person we should be focusing on is Katie Proudfoot. You want to know why?
Right. She's the only one. Right.
Katie Proudfoot was the one that was with Sebastian. She's the one that told us she told him to go to bed at 9 o'clock when they were at home. She's the one that tells us she heard a thud at 10 p.m. She's the one that tells us she wakes up to get him up for school and he's not there. She is the last person to be with this young boy in her home, and she was responsible for him. Not Seth at this time, and not CP. They were not there.
Well, I want to interject here for just a second, because I do agree with you. I do agree with you on all of that. But I do wonder, and this is just thoughts that I have on it, if he's aiding. I mean, you've got the pending child custody hearing coming up. If there wasn't an accident, why not just report an accident? Well, maybe he's the type of person, well, I'm not going to risk this custody battle that I'm about to have to get his daughter. So I don't know. I just have different thoughts on that. I think there's other reasons why he might be participating and covering it up.
Well,
It
and
doesn't
look,
mean he is.
it's his wife, right? Let's say,
Right.
you know, maybe she did tell him a little bit of something that happened or whatever the case may be. We as, you know, the people, we as true crime, you know, creators and the ones that are trying to spread this case and get out facts, especially with, you know, a certain amount of us that are based off of facts. Yes, we like to speculate on facts or try to figure out how these facts can play a role into maybe something else or, you know, back and forth, whatever it may be. We can't say for sure though that
No.
that has, you know what I mean? But a lot of people are sitting here and they are stating that as facts, and they are stating because of, you know, CP's background with Nina and all of this. Okay, well, we can stop for a second too, and we can go ahead and go to the court records for Sebastian's father and Katie. That's not too pleasant in there either. I mean, out of the own child's mouth, and in these reports, as well as the ones that are locked, he tells what happened, what he saw, Sebastian, what he felt, what he saw take place, and how he felt Seth was to him at this current time in these documents, as well as KP. So if we're going to sit here and listen to Nina and how Chris did her, we have to sit here and listen to those court documents on how it paints Seth out to be towards Katie and Sebastian.
Yeah.
Because
And we should.
they're all
Yeah,
wrong.
I agree. I agree.
We should. I don't think
Right?
Seth is innocent either. I don't think Seth is
He's
the
not.
stand-up guy that everybody wants him to be either. I don't think he is.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but I honestly, truly believe in my heart of hearts that that boy Sebastian left that home. Whether he left to meet somebody, whether he left to leave on his own and go cool off and thought he was going to come back and something happened. I don't personally think that Chris or Seth were involved or know or participated in covering up anything other than what may have taken place after CP came home, Seth was there, the missing reports out, the Amber Alerts out. Maybe she confided in her husband and told him, yeah, there was an argument. He took off. You know, I slapped him and he took, whatever the case. But we don't know that. And right now, the one person.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, the one person that should be focused and be getting this heat is Katie, because Katie was the last one with him. Katie was the last one to see him. Katie was the last one to hear a thud that she didn't go in and check. And she has reasons she claims she didn't do that. And those are a little strange to me as well, considering.
She's no longer talking.
Yeah, like I understand certain things that are being said on social media. And me as a mom, I probably wouldn't come on and give you guys the time of the fucking day to tell you every little thing that you guys are speculating on. But I think some of the serious shit, some of the shit that she can actually speak on and that won't hinder an investigation for her son or won't mess up anybody maybe being charged in the future that could have possibly done something, she should come on and she should clear up some things. She should definitely clear up the call that was released with the PI where she's in the background, definitely indicating that her mother is the person people are talking about and why it doesn't matter, because to her, it seems to not be a big deal. She was 5. So why does she think that? Does she really have a relationship with her mother? Does she understand why her mother did this? Does she not have a relationship with her mother? Does Sebastian know his grandmother? Does he not know his grandmother? These are questions that they're the only ones that can clear up. And they're allowing the speculation and the wild theories and this fuckery to continue. Because if they would speak up and answer some of these questions respectfully and to their knowledge, it would clear up a lot instead of CP coming on a panel and yelling and screaming like a maniac, because that doesn't make him look any better. And I'm not saying he's wrong in every single interview, because he's probably a little angry, and I don't blame the guy. I don't. If he was really working and he had nothing to do with this, he should not be criticized the way that he is and looked at the way that he is, even for his past. A past is a past for a reason, and everyone fucking has one, whether it's you personally or somebody in your own fucking family. Nobody in this world is squeaky fucking clean. And if you are, fucking men. Okay? Amen.
I think a lot of it has to do with just, just they're not helping themselves in the public eye, especially Chris. And I think that's probably a large part of it is just that he's been, well, we all know how he's been with it. And I want to say too, because I don't know, unless I missed it, if it didn't pop up on the screen, I want to make sure I say these are our opinions and our opinions only, and not when we speculate and we do things like that. So speculation alert, just so everybody knows, these are our opinions, thoughts, and feelings only.
I got the video. Is it okay if I play it? This is, I guess, the apology video.
Yeah, go for it.
Clearing up. All right.
Hey guys, I just want to come on here before any lives or anything.
I can't hear it. Can anybody else?
Yeah,
hear
I
it?
was just gonna say I can't hear it either.
I thought maybe it was me.
Okay, good. My dogs are barking frantically, and that's fine. Maybe I can't play it or something. I don't know.
I don't know that it's important that we play. My thought on it is like maybe we shouldn't just like have his face up in our live, like like I don't know. Like we don't know that what he said was false. Like we can't prove that it wasn't said to him, right? Like we can't prove that it wasn't said to him. So I don't want him to feel like we're bullying him, or you know what I mean? Like
No. But he made a video saying he wanted to clear things up.
I can prove it wasn't said to him because he ain't got no proof it was said to him. Point blank, period.
Well, we don't have proof it wasn't said to him, so I just don't want him to feel like I wouldn't like it if he had my face up in his life. You know what I mean? Like,
I get you.
I just don't want to feel
not
like
the
we're
intention.
bullying him.
Yeah, and if he's watching, I definitely don't want him to feel like that's the intention. I just thought, we were talking about it, and he also made a follow-up video trying to clear things up. So might as well play that too to get his side of the story. That's all it was. It wasn't.
Yeah, that's the point of
it.
It
Definitely wasn't. It definitely wasn't to be a bully or to pick on him. I just want to make that clear. I hope nobody thinks I would do that. I would never do that.
No, I know that wasn't the intention.
But yeah, I just want to give him the opportunity to say his side of things. But apparently, I'm having technical difficulties. I can't do it. So okay. I think that just about wraps it up for now, because we've been on here for 2.5 hours and my dogs are going nuts.
So real quick, I just see a couple of the comments. Nick B is saying that Ellie stated to him there are no texts with the GMA, but Tony tonight stated Seth, have evidence pages or something. And then Alicia said Nick Beers made a post after speaking to Ellie.
So here's the thing, you guys. There's two different pieces of info. One is what Tony said about the grandma. That came from Seth. The other is the information about the surveillance footage on the 26th, and that came from Stephen. There's two different things. So Nick Barris, right, is saying that law enforcement stated to him there are no texts with the grandma. But Tony tonight stated that Seth has evidence pages or something.
Okay. I'm
Alicia is saying they're both debunked. They're both debunked.
I'm not being rude at all. Like, I'm not, because I really like Tony, and I know that he's trying to be a voice right now and help out, and that's needed, especially with the fuckery, but it's also needed to be done correctly. So with that being said, if the police, law enforcement, the ones covering the case, ones that have all the evidence that they've gathered together during this investigation so far, if they don't have any proof that these texts occurred, which in my opinion The grandmother is allegedly charged with some serious allegations, okay? And if that was the case, that this boy who went missing the very next day was texting this person, who very clearly CP and them have stated in Facebook comments and all that they didn't have a relationship with Katie's family. And that was another reason why Katie's family hasn't been very active in this case, commenting in any groups and any lives and any interviews. So if there was a text being done between these two, and I tried to get up in the live to state this last night, that if there was any text messages between Sebastian and this grandmother that has serious charges against her at a level 3, okay, let's not forget that, a level 3, all right, the police would definitely know about this before Seth, Sebastian's mom, the neighbor, spokesperson. You want to know why? Because they don't tell the family everything in an open investigation. And I have proof of that. Right now, I'm waiting 5 months for a motorcycle accident that killed my brother. I don't have, and I have a very high paid lawyer, very respected and known in the state. And I don't have the answers that I want yet. Okay. So if there was something that serious, in my opinion, Ellie that spoke with Nick Barris, who's been covering this case from Tennessee about Sebastian from the beginning, if they told him that, I truly believe that law enforcement is not aware of these text messages, or they do not exist, or they are not important in this case. Because law enforcement would have that information before anybody on social media. And Seth being very open and speaking like Steve is in the Idaho case, they're not going to give you that information because they know that you are going to release that information. And that is my opinion. I may be wrong.
Nikki, you and I are on the same page. You and I always said, even in Idaho, the parents don't know shit. You know what I mean? They don't.
They don't.
Agreed. I agree
mean, they
with
know,
that.
obviously they know more than us, you know what I mean? But they just don't. And it sucks. It sucks. But when it comes to missing children, you know, usually the parents are suspects, always, right? Why would law enforcement, having not ruled anybody out yet, be sharing any information with parents?
And that's,
I mean,
what
they
I'm
gotta share
saying.
some stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And Tony, and I had a really nice conversation with Tony this afternoon, and he agreed. He was like, I don't need Seth to know exactly what they're doing, but what I do need them to tell Seth is that they're working on it.
Yeah,
and they're not
they
even
should,
telling
and they
him
should
that.
be updating.
Yeah,
They should
and
update
that's what
the public.
Tony. Yes, and that's what Tony is frustrated with, is that according to Tony, law enforcement isn't even telling Seth they're still working on it, and Seth is obviously very frustrated with that.
And I agree.
He doesn't need to know the details.
I understand.
Yeah. So that's where that, again, this isn't a reflection on anybody, but the information last night was very sus, and I'm very glad that I was able to get back up in the box and be like, listen, this is not, on board here. This is not above board, and it doesn't pass the smell test, and here's why. I wish I had that recording. I thought I did. I didn't record it, obviously. I don't have anything.
I think somebody has it. Plus, Jay for Justice, I believe, is going to be speaking about it. I think her live is tomorrow. So if anybody wants to go over there, we'll be able to see it. When I was in there, I did not hear anything about after the 26th. I heard a confirmation of the 26th. And that's what's going to bother me. And that's what did bother me. Having, like, if he would have stated from the jump, okay, and not when several people in the comments were giving heat, okay, and making the pressure worse. So then he had to say, well, maybe I heard it wrong. Okay, well, maybe you should state that from the jump. Hey, I went into the police department. I spoke to so-and-so. Now, this is what I heard. I don't know if I heard right, if I heard what I wanted to hear, if I heard what I thought he was saying. I don't know, but that's not what it was delivered with from what I saw. What I saw with my eyes and what I heard, it was delivered with very confidence that
Yeah,
there
no,
was
very.
video of this child on the 26th and that he was shared this information. Okay. And it was very confident that this was true. It was so confident that he told 1,000 people to go ahead and call and ask the question themselves. Okay. To today being, he said something totally different. That is called a fuckery, and I have a problem with it.
Yeah, for sure. I do too. And you know, he's gonna have to lick his wounds on this one.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think I think that I think he's, by making a video, I think he's trying.
Well, I need to go watch it. I need to go watch it. According to Alicia, he's saying I was wrong about there being any footage after the 26th, which is not what he said. He said on the 26th.
Yeah,
so I'm
that's
very
what I got from it.
about what he. I'm very confused about what he's saying now. I'm very confused about what he's saying now. The problem is, it doesn't matter what I think he's saying now because I don't trust any information that he's going to be sharing.
Sure.
Exactly.
Because it's one thing to say, here's what I remember hearing, da 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 da, right? And then when people are like, wait a minute, what? Because like Ocean was too. Ocean was very like, what? What do you? And I think Beach was as well. And he was very confident. He stood his ground. And we were all like,
But the poster that we were just talking about kind of corroborates what he was saying, that Sebastian was last seen on February 26th.
And
so
that's why I got so excited initially.
So
like, oh my God.
He was told that. Maybe he really was told that.
But he just said he wasn't in the apology video.
Yeah,
I thought in the apology video he was talking about after the 26th, not what he said about.
But the problem, but that's inconsistent with what he said. What he said in the live was that Sebastian was seen on the 26th on surveillance. They have surveillance of him on the 26th.
And
His
that they
apology
did a
video
whole
says
180 and all kinds of
yeah.
stuff.
His apology video says, I never meant to say there wasn't video of him after the 26th. But that's not what he said.
Maybe people are gaslighting him into thinking he misspoke, and like maybe people are
maybe, yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean? Like maybe people are saying, you said this and you said that, and
maybe
he's like, oh
you
shit, like
need to stop apologizing for some man on the internet. Like, what the fuck? This was a fuckery situation. In a I mean, it was. And now with the apology video, I think it's you know.
Do you want me to play the audio from his video so that y'all can hear?
No, I don't want to bully the guy. I'm not into it. I just okay,
I do want to say
me and Nikki can do that later
about the bullying really quick. Yeah. That's not bullying, guys. That's bullying is picking on someone daily, harassing them for who they are, for what they look like, just being evil to them. Calling out somebody's bullshit is not. That's not bullying. That is calling out facts versus you sat up on a panel and said this and now you're saying this. You're a fucking liar. Period. That's not what you said. I know, I'm not the very liked one. I know, I get it, but I'm honest, and it's a fuckery. You cannot sit up somewhere confident and say something, and then turn around the next day and try to apologize that you said something that you didn't even fucking say. It's not real life. It can't happen.
I don't think it was intentional. I don't think he lied. I just think he shouldn't be talking about things that he doesn't really know about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You shouldn't come on so confident about something that you weren't really confident about, because then you have to turn around and say things that you didn't really say. It's like it's a gaslighting, and we're very familiar with gaslighting. We know all about gaslighting.
Yeah, we know all about it.
Well, maybe he'll take some things need to be kept to yourself. And
well, here's the issue that I have with it. They went to Seth with this information, you guys. This is like they went to Seth with this information.
Yes,
so it's,
they did.
Poor Seth. This is why I'm upset. And I said this last night because they were like, we told Seth, and I was like, you fucking told Seth this information? What the? And I was furious. I was furious.
Look, I would have went to law enforcement and I'd have said, okay, since you told me all of this, I'm going to give you the opportunity. You go and make a press conference about this information and clear all this up and explain the 26th versus the 25th when Katie saw, or I'm going to go on a platform and get thousands of people to watch, and I am going to release that information. There's a lot of ways they can go about this behind the scenes and with the certain people that are in this investigation. Number one, walking into a police department and talking to somebody random in there versus the lead investigator is two different things.
Yeah, this is fuckery level 1000.
It is. It
And
really is.
And like Buddy said, he's going to have to lick his wounds, and
He'll be okay. He'll be okay. I mean,
he'll be
all right.
He's gonna, he's just, it's a learning.
He'll be all right. He's a big boy.
Tony,
he's got a big platform.
And according to Tony, he's very well respected in Hendersonville. According to Tony, he's very well respected in Hendersonville. He does do a lot of search and rescue work with drones. And from what I understand, he's really good at it. And he's obviously got a talent that he should probably stick to for now.
Otherwise, it's gonna end up on fucking.
We all have to learn, right?
We do.
We all
really
have to
do.
learn. All of us have made mistakes. I mean, we're not perfect, right?
Exactly.
I always correct myself.
And I think that's what he was trying to do with this video, was correct himself. But I don't know. I have to go watch it and see what the fuck.
Well, you have to correct yourself with the actual correct information. You can't say something that you didn't actually say. I mean, there was 1,001.1 people.
I haven't listened to it myself, so I need to go do that.
Yeah, I do too.
I watched it. It sounds like he's saying that he shouldn't have said that there were more videos of more images of him seen after the 26th is how it comes across. Now, is he...
Because there was not any, is what he said.
And he said that you should do your own research from stuff that comes from his lives. And that's when I quit watching.
Right.
I was like, oh, you ain't doing that. Bye.
Right.
We're not doing that.
I feel bad. I feel like maybe
I feel bad for him too.
Bonnie had said earlier, maybe he had misunderstood what they were saying, misheard, got a little overzealous, thinking, "Oh, hey, they told me this and that. Maybe people don't know."
I think that's possible.
Yeah, I think that's very possible.
I think it has a lot to do with breaking news first. I'm going to break the news first.
I don't know. I don't get the impression from him that he's like an attention seeker kind of guy. I really don't get that impression from him.
I don't know. To me, this is not, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It's just me. I'm the problem.
No, you're not.
It's me. Huh? All right. So I think that about wraps it up, right? I think we're good.
Yeah.
I think we've wrapped it up. We've gone over
just
some
be careful the
and...
next 7 days. Don't end up on the fuckery next Friday.
Fuckery Friday.
Hey, Vivian. Hey, V. We just finished going over Fuckery Friday. You missed it.
You sure
it's
did.
Funny because her username is for fuck's sakes.
I love it.
Yeah, we were just going over all the fuckery. Good night. I'll see you guys over on TikTok, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a bunch of
I may go live. I don't know. Have a good night.
Nikki's like, I'm gonna go live. She's like, I
don't know.
She's not done.
Watch me some videos real quick, and I'm gonna decide.
She has some shit to talk.
Fuckery Friday 2.0.
Right, 2.0, baby, on the TikTok. All right,
well,
guys. Thank you, everybody,
let's hope
for
at least
watching.
Yes, thank you, everybody. This was like our first thing, and I think it went pretty well. And yeah, I think it'll be better moving forward. We'll have more technical stuff to work out and whatnot, but I think it went pretty well. And maybe hopefully by the next time we go live, we won't have any news about Sebastian because he will have been found.
Yes.
Let's all keep that
prayerfully so.
in our hopes. Yeah. All right, guys. If you have any information about Sebastian, please call 1-800-TBI-FIND. Do not call a TikToker. Do not call a YouTuber. Call 1-800-TBI-FIND if you have any information on the whereabouts of Sebastian Rogers. If you call me, I'm going to laugh at you. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. All right, guys. We're going to sign off. Thank you.
Thanks,
Good night.
everybody.
Thank you, everybody.